the world itself. Right? We are setting up the conversations for the world. Where YSC comes in, we are at a cross junction where we bring in the academia, we bring in the industry, we connect two ends of the spectrum. We work with the young students, we work with the young leaders in the corporate world. We also bring in the insights from the industry as well. Over the last 12 months, I want to share some stats about what we've done. We had, most of us had many programs enabling the young leaders across the country. We also had 50 of our members represent the YLC in global conferences, summits, where we were part of the larger dialogue, larger conference, larger conversation to set the agenda for the world over the last 12 months. But beyond that, we also ran our innovation summit for students to really bring in the student entrepreneurial movement in the country. We also worked with industry such as KPMG and others, where we had our members visit the innovation centers there, worked with them to understand the cutting edge technologies that the world is building towards and how we could contribute for that. And when we do this, we also realize that it's imperative for us to bring that the conversation between the industry and academia, and we become that bridge for both ends of the spectrum, and we enable the student pool that can become early emerging talent for the corporates, but also they can become the next stage of young leaders who will be driving the company forward. So our motive here is to really enable and support the student ecosystem, the young corporate leaders, as well as bring them up to the curve where they can really contribute to the national economy. Setting the stage for today's summit, you must have already seen my colleague talk about what is it in the agenda for today, but I'll take a brief moment to walk you through what to expect from this whole session. It's not a sequence of events that we're doing today, it's not a sequence of sessions, it's a highly curated dialogue that we're building towards. We have, right after me, we have Rekha Sethi, DG of AIMA, walk us through about AIMA's prerogatives. We also have Vineet Agarwal, who's the Vice President of AIMA, but also a long-standing pillar of YLC itself. He was the founding chairman. We are privileged to have Sunil Kant Munjal delivering a keynote address for us. This session essentially is to really build momentum for the session today, for the whole day. But beyond this, we also have some very interesting concepts that we're building around, conversations that we're building around. First and foremost, right after this, we will have former Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, who will speak about the integrity and the value that our young leaders have to build, and that is very important for the country if we are really looking at becoming the Vishwaguru. And after that, we'll have Mohandas Pai, who will walk us through about looking at India becoming the startup nation and how we can really move faster towards the $10 trillion dream that we are building towards. We will have a very interesting session about higher education in India through the lens of a university leader. We will also talk about a very interesting aspect of building innovation, but also building resilience in innovation, when we have Deep Kalra build those insights for us. And also, moving ahead, we have for the first time today in our session that we are trying to bring in the learnings from the African wildlife. So we have Ivan Shibak come over from Australia. He's going to walk us through some very interesting references about how to take leadership lessons from the African wild and bring it to the corporate boardroom. So if you look at overall this session, you will also get to understand it's not just one angle that we're tackling here. We're not just looking at innovation alone. We're looking at inspiration and impacting for the whole generation that we're looking for, and which will enable the country to really move forward. With this, again, welcome you all to this session. I hope this will be something to take away for you in terms of your learning, to collaborate with others in the room, and also to engage with the younger audience that will come up through the day. Thank you so much, and I yield the stage.
Thank you, Santosh. May I now invite Ms. Rekha Sethi, Director General AIMA, to deliver address.
Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal, Mohan, Santosh, Arun, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to AIMA's second Young Leaders Council Summit and to thank you for being here this morning. This gathering is special because it brings together both veterans and emerging leaders, creating a dialogue across generations about the future of leadership in India. Mr. Munjal, we are delighted to have you with us again. Your role as investor, mentor, and guide to new entrepreneurs makes your reflection especially valuable. We look forward to your distinctively thoughtful and inspirational address. Vineet, as the founding chair of AIMA YLC, you have been instrumental in building this forum, and your perspective on innovation across traditional and new economies will be of great benefit to this audience. Santosh and Arun, congratulations on putting together an outstanding summit and nurturing this growing community of young leaders. AIMA deeply appreciates your leadership. I also wish to acknowledge Sanjay Grover and Ridhan Malik, who have supported YLC since its inception in 2018 and helped it grow steadily. As they move on to new chapters in their journey, we welcome Madhav Sharma and Mansoor Hassan to carry the YLC work forward. Ladies and gentlemen, it is inspiring to be with India's brightest young leaders as they prepare for a world that is changing faster than ever. Technology, business models, consumer behavior, and geopolitics are disrupting plans overnight. To be future ready requires curiosity, courage, and commitment, seeking knowledge, asking the right questions, and preparing for multiple scenarios. Leadership is not about having all the answers, but about asking the necessary questions and engaging with reality beyond screens and algorithms. Ultimately, leadership cannot be automated. It demands vision, passion, and responsibility. Today's young leaders see opportunity in disruption, yet must stay alert to constant change. AI is already shaping the present, quantum computing is on the horizon, and geopolitics is adding complexity. Leaders must not only manage today, but invest in multiple futures. As they build the future, they must remember that their children will live in it. So innovation must respect the environment, social health, and human dignity. The future does not arrive on a fixed schedule. It is made by those who dare to shape it. This summit is an opportunity to sharpen your perspective, learn from each other and from veterans, and commit to building a constructive future. Together, you represent the energy, imagination, and resilience that will define India's next chapter. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I wish you an enriching and enjoyable day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Mr. Vineet Agarwal to deliver his address.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sunil, Rekha, Santosh, Arun, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm delighted to see so many young entrepreneurs and professionals in the room. Sunil, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. We are indebted to you to continue to inspire AIMA and support the YLC. Rekha, you and your team have nurtured YLC with great vision and commitment for so many years, and it's very satisfying to see another YLC event. Many thanks and compliments to the successive chairs of AIMA YLC for growing it nationally and internationally. Some of you might know the history of the YLC, and like many startups, it was conceived on the back of a napkin on a flight where Rekha and I were sitting together. The mutual feeling at that time was that we needed to create a platform where young professionals from any field could come together and engage for self-growth. Not just management, but any field. For furthering their career and ultimately contributing towards nation building. With support from the then leadership, we were able to launch the initiative in Delhi and spread to many cities in the country. I was privileged to be part of the first chair of AIMA YLC, though that time not really young, and I'm delighted to see that it's fulfilling its purpose and developing the next generation of India's leaders. This summit is clearly a very important initiative, and I'm confident that it will grow as a platform for India's young leaders to network and share expertise. The summit also provides an opportunity for intergenerational dialogue, which is what we're doing today, and allow young leaders to tap the wisdom of veterans and help veterans to extend their shelf life by learning from the new generation. This is one of the most important tenets of YLC, that is to build a mentorship program, and I'm glad to see success in that area. The future has clearly accelerated, and as Rekha also talked about, in the last few years, it continues to accelerate further. The once generational changes were beginning to occur in a few years, are beginning to occur in a few years. India is getting younger, and it is only logical that business leadership is also getting younger. Young leaders are starting their careers in the age of digital revolution, energy transition, economic restructuring, and geopolitical volatility. In this summit, we are concerned with the shaping of the future instead of sleepwalking into it. We want our young leaders to not only prepare for the most likely future, but also to build the future they would like to have. During the summit, we will talk about opportunities and compulsions of next-gen leaders in national and global economy and the responsibilities in the coming world. Since I have you as a captive audience, I would like to conduct a short poll. I've been doing this for several years with our new cohort of management trainees in our company for probably about 10, 12 years. And I ask a set of questions and I like to seek your answers. Now, I see a lot of older people here, so I would not ask them to respond to this, please. How many of you in the age group of 25 to 30? Okay, so about maybe 10 people. 30 to 35? Okay. And 35 to 40? Okay. So that's a general cohort of the YLC. Anyone younger than 25? Okay, that's a large bunch as well. Okay. So now let's assume that all of you who have been in this age group of 20 to 40, you've reached a certain stage in your life and you have a certain pool of money with you in your bank. It's not a very large pool, but it's a smallish pool, but it's a decent pool. Now I want you to think about 4 options. Option A, B, C, D. And I will tell you those options and you please vote for them when I tell you to. The first option is I will use that pool of money to put it for the down payment of a house. Okay. Option B is to buy a car. Option C is to invest it into the stock market. And option D is to do nothing. I just leave it in the bank and let it earn interest. Clear? Anyone all clear with the options? And please do not, anyone above the age of 40, please do not vote. So, who would like to vote for option A? Which is house, down payment for a house. Option B, which is buying a car. So virtually nil. And option C, invest in the stock market, predominantly. And option D, do nothing. So as you can see that, the trend of the day is stock market. The trend of the year is stock market. This is the period of, we are seeing this stock market boom. When we did this survey, of course with a similar size group, I would say, pre-COVID, the number one thing that people wanted was a car. This is again pre-Ola Uber days, because it was a status thing. The number one thing people wanted right after COVID was a house, because we were all constrained into one house or one area. And the last thing is the stock market. So the idea for this is to has helped at least us to really look at the trends and expectations and accordingly approach the younger generation in terms of what they would like from the company. And I'm sure this is an exercise that you would have also found interesting because it gives you a perspective of what your peers are also thinking. So I'm here today speaking to you as a senior YLC member. The theme of the summit, Future Ready, Innovate, Inspire, Impact, is appropriate in the present context. Some of my learnings that I would like to share with you for the last 30 years of being in management myself are as follows, and they're linked to essentially the theme of the conference. First is that you should have a learning mindset. Einstein has said that if you continue to do the same things, do not expect the same results. For too long, we have talked about jugaad in our lexicon. We need to get that out. We need to stop thinking from an incremental perspective and focus on innovation. Innovation is possible when we inculcate a learning mindset where every small experience, smallest to smallest of experience for you, is a journey towards self-growth. The second is change constantly. Again, this is linked to the theme of how to be future ready. There's a very famous saying by Rumi that yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. Change everything but your values, value systems, your culture. Do not live in any fixed belief system. You will meet people who will make you question your ethics all the time. But take everything as part of that same learning process. This is how you will continue to inspire yourself, most importantly, and then others around you. Last but not the least is purpose, which is directly connected to impact. I have learned the value of purpose from my two children who are 21 and 18 and they are at college. They started their own NGO for waste management when they were 14 and 11, and because they were suffering from Delhi's pollution. As I'm in the logistics business, they told me that, Dad, you're polluting the environment, we need to clean it up. So it has prompted a huge shift in our mindset to closely look at changing our philosophy around climate change. So my recommendation to you is believe in something very strongly, not because it is trending, to find your purpose, your area of impact. The next journey for YLC, I would recommend also from not just mentorship perspective, is to create something around things that other organizations have is called forum. Basically get together, 8 to 10 of you in a group, and essentially talk about whatever you want to. I know there is a gap. Sometimes you feel, who do I talk to? I cannot talk to my family about a lot of things. I cannot talk to my colleagues in the office. But this could be a disparate group of people who get together, do not judge you, and they just listen to you. So this is something that perhaps you should definitely consider. As they say, the best trick for the future, to be future ready, is to own the future by shaping it, by leading the innovation, inspiring imagination, and making a positive impact to the world, on the world. Before I end, I would like to leave you with another quote from Nelson Mandela. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I invite Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Santosh, Rekha, Vineet, Arun, and friends, the young and the young at heart. When Rekha asked me to come in and address this group, I was wondering about what can one say to a group of people that are already changing the world. We often talk of walking towards the future, but currently the future is hurtling towards us right now. So instead of giving you a lecture or an address, let me try and do this a little bit differently. Let me ask you, what is it that is bothering you right now? What is concerning you? what are your fears at this moment? And I will try and see if I can address some of those to help you discover your own mojo for doing all of this. Because you are our future. You are what will define where we get to and also how we get there. Because each of these is actually important. Please remember, the destination is amorphous, but the journey is what actually matters. Every single day, what you do makes a difference. It makes a difference to you, and makes a difference to people around you. So I'm going to stop here for a few minutes and ask you to tell me any issues and concerns that you have, and I'll try and address those as I speak to you. And this is an actual question for all of you. Anybody would like to ask a question? Please raise your hand and yes, please. Just shout.
So I have a question.
And only a question, please.
Yeah, one question only. I'm a professor at one of the institutes in Delhi NCR.
Just a question, please. It doesn't.
My question is, sir, what I personally feel, and a lot of, I think the teachers and academicians also feel, that the younger generation is losing interest in studies. They are becoming what you call it, a bit, they're just losing their interest in studies. What do you have to say?
Okay.
If I may ask. This is an interesting question that I keep hearing from a lot of young, early stage career builders. So the question that they have is, earlier the career used to be a 30-40-year-old career, then it shrunk to 10-year careers. Now it's become a 2-year career. How does one plan for a career in this era?
Okay. Yes, please. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing that Vineet did. I'm going to ask all the people below 40 to ask the questions. Yep.
How the young people from our country accept yoga as a routine, as a part of their life.
Right.
If you could
Okay.
narrate us. Thank you.
Can we get a mic there?
So the recent interview saw.
I can't make out who's asking.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes. So in the recent interview, Sam Altman said that no human born today would be smarter than a computer, right? And in this day and age, what is the right career, to be honest? And
What is the right?
what is a right career? What is the definition of right career?
Okay.
And other than that, how we define the economy as a whole? How does the value creation work?
Okay. Up there, please.
So how do social entrepreneurs who are willing to create an impact at the grassroots level scale their work, considering the requirement of the patient capital that is needed in order to bring out the impact is limited with the industries? Thank you.
All right. Yes, here, please. Sure, go ahead.
Two questions actually. One, of course, I think with AI coming in, our worries around how the young generation will build critical thinking. What other skills are required to move in this, to proceed or to progress further in this world of AI. Second question, of course, would be around India. We are of course transitioning to a phase, global policies, a lot of different issues coming up. What one solution do you think could really impact India's future, say by 2030 or 2035?
Sorry, repeat that last bit. What India?
What one solution do you think could really impact India's future in the global macroeconomic?
That's it? All right. There's one there. Below 40, please. There's one there. I don't know if he's below 40. Wearing a mask on late or not.
Somebody who have been working in corporate like from 10 to 15 years and there's a urge to start something of your own, but then on the other hand you're obviously insecure about it, so much of competition in today's world. Every day we see a new startup coming up. So how do you what is that one thing that somebody like me who wants to do something of their own can take away from the leaders in our industry?
Okay. All right, go ahead. There, please.
I just want to comment on the first question that was raised. Students are not losing interest in studies, they are losing interest in studies the way we teach them. In the age of AI,
Thank you.
it's
Thank
the
you.
teachers who have to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So my question to you is, how do you look at the education landscape in India? Connecting the question that this gentleman asked right away, I think it is the curriculum. We are still having curriculums that probably my father was taught 30 years ago. So how do we bridge that divide so as to ensure that we are preparing our students for the challenges of the much anticipated fifth industrial revolution? How do we make our curriculum industry-led at scale? Because in today's time, there are universities like Masters Union and others who are reinventing the business education space and making it more industry-led.
Right.
But how do we scale it? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. All right. So, thank you for these very interesting set of issues across a wide. You're the one who gave the long thing. We already too long actually. Now, I have a time limit. I need to finish it. All right.
When I said that the students...
Can you please put a question mark at the end of your sentence?
Yeah, though they're becoming indifferent towards education. I just wanted to ask, because coming of AI and new technologies, do we consider AI to be a friend, a relative, or a cheat?
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. So there's still one more hand. There's one more hand at the other corner.
How you see 70 hours a week of Narayan versus right to disconnect?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. 70
How you
hours.
see the 70 hours per week work of Narayan Murthy versus right to disconnect?
Okay. So this is a very interesting diverse set of issues that we've got here. And that is what actually we need to look at as how we step into the future. It is never going to have a single unitary focus. You're never going to have one influence coming at you. They will be coming from all directions, at all kinds of paces. So you need to figure out, how do you multitask? That is one of the unique skills that all the most successful leaders in the world have developed through history. There are very few who had to deal with one problem at one time. They could resolve it and get on and then look at something different in the future. Real life has a habit of overtaking any plan that you might make. Which is why they say when you plan, please also think about what could be different. Could things get much better or much worse? What do you do then? How do you anticipate the future? And we are at a unique point in history. Change has been a constant right through history. In fact, that's the very nature of life. is the very nature of how humanity has grown. Being inquisitive, asking questions, figuring out how do you get the answers to those questions. That innate inquisitiveness in human beings is what has made us distinctive. It also is what makes us distinct from each other. Because we look at the same thing from a different perspective. That is our biggest challenge, and that, my friends, is also our biggest strength. So as we look at a world where technology is becoming the big game changer, we need to figure out, and I'm glad that some of you asked this question on education, on skilling, on jobs, on entrepreneurship, on careers, because all of them actually can coalesce into only one set of issues. Issues to do with how we approach work in life. Some of the folks here in this room have been on this trip that we take to California every year to look at the new innovations in technology, what is going on. And we do this in the hotbed of innovation in Silicon Valley. 2 conversations with one of our bright Indian minds, Vinod Khosla, 6 years apart. 6 years ago, I'd done a fireside chat with him. And we were talking of the role of technology, equipment, robots, and artificial intelligence. What we are today calling Gen AI was not a term that had been coined at that time. At that time, Vinod Khosla said, there will soon be machines which will do every job better than human beings. I think Rekha might remember this. I don't remember if Mohan was with us on that trip. And I kind of pushed him I tried to pin him on this point. I said, what about this job? What about a surgeon? He's saying, robots will perform surgery better than any machine. Machine learning will have better information on case studies than any lawyer that you know. So he went on one after the other. So I said, what about people? What will they do? What role do they have in life? What about their jobs? And he asked me a question. And he's saying, why do they need a job? What do they need a job for? I thought that was a bit extreme. But what he was trying to do, and I thought it was a very interesting thing, later on I thought about it. He was making us think, what direction are we going in? How are we preparing ourselves for that? Because technology will come. And I've said this multiple times, it's like a road roller. You have 2 choices. Either be sitting on the road roller or be the road. You don't have a third choice. And we used to talk about the technology will come. That is here and now. It's not in the long distant future now. 6 years ago, on the very same trip that I was talking about, NVIDIA showed us a working model of what we today call AI. We came back and I said it was super exciting and it was very scary at the same time. Because for a long time we have been saying that we will remain ahead of machines because machines do not have their own logic and also they cannot emote, they do not have emotion. Therefore, we will always lead. We will tell machines what to do. They showed us that a machine can develop and can use logic. And for me, that was like a red signal going up that there is a change happening. We need to look at things a little bit differently. We need to look at our own way of preparing the young for the future differently. I'm glad that 3 of you spoke about education. We wrote a new education policy only a few years ago in India. This is actually, we are asked by a show of hands, how many of you in this room have actually read or know of this policy, new education policy? So how many have actually read this policy? It is actually one of the best education systems in the world if you actually deploy it. Please note the operative word is if you actually deploy it in right spirit. The policy has been developed by one group at the center. Of course, they took many experts help. The implementation, however, will be in the states. This is a state subject. And unless we can create a system to share best practices which are, easy to talk about, we will have patchy implementation of this policy. It's a very vast and it encompasses all aspects of education. But the 2 or 3 unique things of this policy are: one, it recognizes that academics alone is not education. Sports, adventure, learning human values are as important as academics. It allows you to do things like take a break year. It allows you to accumulate and transfer credits. So it is truly phenomenal. But it's been many years since we wrote this policy. We have still not in right earnest implemented it. This policy will be actually in some ways one of the biggest reforms India has done since independence. And truly, it will teach differently from the way your dad learned. And you're absolutely right, it's not only your father, it's your grandfather also learned the same curriculum. So we tried this experiment. We set up a university called Sunil Munjal University just outside Delhi 10 years ago. And we said, because they registered with UGC, AICT and all the regulators, we will have to follow their curriculum, but that will be de minimis for us. We created our own completely unique curriculum. And we didn't know that what we was doing was unique in the world. I thought we were trying to make it experiential, practical, forward-looking, value-based. We did a whole bunch of things, entrepreneurial. We had a team from MIT come and tell us, and actually asked us, we hope you people realize what you have done. And when I said, what is it that we've done, I thought we'd done something wrong. They said, what we do at MIT is 21% experiential. What you're doing at BMU is 48% experiential. It has never been tried in the world. So I said, is it good or bad? Because the way he expressed it was with a little bit of shock. He said, we've been dreaming of this for the last 30 years, all of us. Harvard, Yale, Columbia, but none of us have been able to achieve it. One, of course, they're big ships, very hard to turn. And by its very nature, education is conservative, super conservative. And also because in those setup, it is not any one individual who drives the change. You can drive the change around yourself because there's an immense amount of independence. But for the entire institution to change is a very tough task in that setup and that environment. So we said we will teach a curriculum which is experiential. So on the campus, we got Shell to set up their only tribology lab in South Asia. So even when they have to take clients to see, they have to bring them to the campus. Siemens put up a full factory from basic machines to robotics and everything in between. So students are not just learning theory in the classes, they're actually going and practically working on these machines. And again, we give equal importance to things like sports and adventure. But what we did do is we made 5 of our electives compulsory. They're compulsory for all the schools. We have a school from management, we have a school, a law school, we have a school for engineering, technology, etc. So these 5 electives are ethics and moral dilemma, cross-discipline, soft skills, design thinking, and physically and actually doing social work. And each of them has a meaning. And that is what I would urge all of you as leaders to actually try and, because we are true to be around at this time, to see this massive place. We need to do this with a set of values. That sadly has become a challenge across the globe. and also in India. We hear of scandals so very often that it's sometimes shocking. What is it that they've created? Why is it our system that is driving us in this manner? Is it our nature? Is it genetic? We need to question ourselves. The reason for soft skill was that we sometimes, not sometimes, very often turn out brilliant people as engineers, lawyers, doctors. They cannot have a 10-minute conversation to explain what is in their mind because it's not being taught. Attitude, etiquette, communication skills, these are all teachable and learnable skills. I think for us to be the leader that we want to be, it is important that our leaders have the ability to communicate, to tell us what's in their minds, to lead by example. But even when they lead by example, they have to express. They have to tell people what they want, what they need, what's going on, what the issues are, where the challenges lie. And design thinking is an approach. We approach anything with a potentially better outcome than you would otherwise have if you do not ask all the right questions. Design thinking is an approach. It's not about actually making design. It's about an approach to life. And by the way, this is not only for education, not only for business. It is equally valuable in your life every day. Issues with your families and your friends and your colleagues. All of them get helped and supported if you use the tool of design. It comes naturally. It's not something that you have to do. Once you know the technique, it is the way you operate. It's the way you think. And that is important. That we need to adapt all of these as second nature, as the way we operate. Now, someone needs to tell me, do we have any time left? Okay, I think we've run out of time. So, all I can say is that we need to figure out how to use technology, but not get driven by it ourselves. That is important in this current world of immense opportunity. Therefore, what is critical is for more and more of you to look to create jobs rather than only to look for jobs. Looking for jobs is critical and important. We've all done this at an appropriate time when we finish our education. But our single biggest challenge as a nation right now is we have 900 million people in this country who are living the same standard as sub-Saharan Africa. So if we are to be a developed nation in the future, all of India needs to develop, not only some of India, not only some part of geographical India, not just some part of the population of India. We must also remember that while we have become the youngest country in the world, in the next 8 to 10 years, we will also be the oldest country in the world. We will have more people over the age of 60 than any other nation on the planet. So we need to prepare a future which takes into account all Indians, their aspirations, their needs, their hopes, their desires. And we need to figure out a way to not just base everything only on technology, to bring back our skills, our artisanal skills, our soft skills, our music, our theater, our dance, our textiles. We have a plethora of opportunities here. We have, in the course of developing startups, since you spoke of startups, we work actively with many. We have developed, set up multiple incubators. One of them we set up recently is based primarily on startups that are based on arts and culture. To see if this miracle of technology and the new change can help us in things that are fundamental to our lives, that is civilizational to all of us. I wish you all the very best. You are living in truly the best time this planet has seen in many, many centuries. Certainly for us as a country, as a revival of a nation which was a leader, we are sitting in the cusp of that place. It is truly exciting. Parts of it are certainly scary, but that's what real life is. But every time you slip and fall from the startups, from the fear of starting a startup, please remember, you can do it again, and again, and again, until you're truly successful. Good luck and all the very best.
May I now request Mr. Arun Pandit to deliver the concluding remarks.
Swami Vivekananda once said, "Give me 100 energetic young men and women and I shall transform India." With this powerful thought, we are confident that this session did not inspire just a few hundred, but thousands of young men and women to rise with conviction and courage to transform our nation and guide towards its rightful destiny. Vishnu, the Guru of the world. On behalf of AIMA Young Leaders Council, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Sunil Kant Munjal sir, Vineet Agarwal sir, Rekha Sethi ma'am, and Santosh Kumar sir for sharing their valuable insights, wisdom and inspiration. Your guidance has truly enriched the summit and will continue to shape the leadership journeys of countless young Indians. With these words, I rest my case. Jai Hind, Jai.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you all for a wonderful start to the AIMA Young Leaders. A big round of applause. I now request Mr. Santosh Kumar to present the